What's happening, everyone? Long time no see. I didn't just go live earlier this morning to discuss stuff as well. That was a short one. And then, yeah, later today, I was like, man, I haven't had Money Gang on the show for a while. And I was coming across some of his content. I was telling him in the green room, like, he makes some really cool infographics, just really good stats to show the power and strength of PulseChain and this ecosystem. So, yeah, I wanted to have him back on. It's been quite a while. And man, the good old days. It's when the last time I saw it. I think we've been on the stream together since then. So anyways, say out of the chat and we'll get into it. If you like money, maybe talking about that on the show as well. We have the gang member of money in the house, as I said. So should be fun. What's up, Red Squirrel? Ted Nelson's here. What's up, David James? How's it going, man? Nate, good to see you. Cue the Michael Knight music. I know, Knight Rider. I've had a lot of comments. Shout out to Markable makes remarkable intros. Proof of Beard on Twitter. If you're looking for some media, I believe the shop is open. So check him out. Markable, aka Proof of Beard 1, I believe, on Twitter. He made the intro, the channel, art, a lot of that stuff, logo, the new logo. Braceology was never literally. Exactly. I tell people when I set a time, especially if it's solo, it could be plus minus 15 minutes or so. Sometimes I just forget or I'm busy, living in real life. So you just have to wait a bit longer for your totally free content that only costs me money. So try my best, though. Try my best to be concise about the time. Anyways, PhD 501, what's up? Tone Star, how's it going? Adrominus, welcome. Super Snake is here. EHEX is about to rocket. That'd be nice. That is what people are, have been speculating on for a while too. Anyways, without further ado, welcome back to the show. Money Game Crypto. How's it going, man?
How's it going, man? Yeah, appreciate you having me on. And yeah, it's been a while since I've properly live streamed. So it's good to be back and good to be doing some live streams. Things have changed, man. It's been a long time since we've streamed, for sure.
I know. I think it's been a while. And back then, it was much simpler times. We were just waiting on PulseChain to launch, man. It was like, oh, it's going to launch. It's going to be great. Hex was a lot more than a penny, all that stuff. How you been, man? How's things been going?
Good. It was only 2 more weeks, and then we got there. Yeah, it's been good. I've been like doing my own thing a little bit, just kind of producing content, trying to put stuff out there, trying to grow, and also not just grow in the sense of like doing it to grow the channel, but also to put out stuff into the World Wide Web and see how it flies, and see how I can help people and see how we can grow this thing together, because at the end of the day, this is a bull run that you don't want to miss out on. And when green candles are happening, you really want to jump on that. It's quite fun for people, especially haters of Hex, when we went down so much. And even when the SEC lawsuit came in, I saw how joyful they had and how much content they put out there. But I saw the consistency of people still coming back and still fighting back and still pushing back. And then we decided as a community to get on this pump, and suddenly, we're the biggest, loudest community out there on crypto Twitter, on the World Wide Web, and people are talking about us. And that is the way it should be going. We need to be loud. We need to be proud. We need to put content out there. We need to make people FOMO into what we are doing. They need to know that there's an opportunity cost, and that opportunity cost is going into another coin, but our ecosystem. And that's how we should be.
Yeah, man. It's one thing too that most people, unless you're a whale, you can't control the candle color. Like you probably don't. 99% of people don't have enough capital to make some big moves, make the chart move and stuff like that. There are a million other ways to do it. Like I said, for you too, just making. I've been trying to make more infographics. I've seen a lot of the content you've been producing around comparing PulseChain and Hex and stuff to other chains, and just to how it's superior, how there's opportunity. And there's a million ways for people to help doing these things. Like I've been going to I have bookmarked live streams for YouTube in general. And every day, every morning, I'll check to see like who's live. Like, can I get on there? Can I super chat them? Can I get them to talk about PulseChain? Can I just have a respectful conversation? Not get in there and be like, you guys stop gatekeeping us. Like, just be there. Hey, have you seen the massive green channels on PulseChain? Stuff like that. And I've just been making content from getting their reaction a lot of times, because a lot of times they're like, wow, there are massive green candles. And hey, if that's just one way, an easy way for people to just go out and promote stuff, especially when we have green candles. It's harder without it, but when you have them, boy, you got to take advantage of it, man.
Yeah, it's been hard. Like I honestly think that a lot of people in this bear market, we had so many more content creators when I first started, and like let's say bigger names, and then we've had replacements. So that's been a really interesting thing, right? Like take it a year back and no one really knew of Somi, or take it a year back and maybe people didn't really know of me, or
me, yeah, like
both as yourself or
exactly.
other people, you know. And those people were talking about Jim Rat Crypto. Where's he got? Where's he gone?
Shout out to
Where's
GRC,
Sam's?
wherever you are. Shout out to GRC.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to come back and make content, you know. But you see what I'm saying, right? Like this, like people left, and there had to be, there's a void as well. And I think a lot of the OGs that carried, apart from maybe DCC, Crypto Coffee, a lot of the OGs have kind of not left, but they've definitely toned down, or they've definitely slowed down in this bear market. And it was just interesting to see who carried it on during the bear market, who was still firm in their belief that we're going to have a good bull market, because it was hard. It really, not only did it shake out people who were selling their positions off, but it also shook out people who wanted to attach themselves to the brand or the image, or, you know, Richard in general. But we've also evolved. So as a community, I don't think you're going to come to this fork in the road. That's not a pun intended, but this fork in the road where you had to decide, like, are you just a hex-centric channel, or are you also a pulse-centric channel? Because as my good friend Famous says, he says, not every hexagon is, what is it? He says, every hexagon's a pulsecan, but not every hexagon is a pulsecan, but every pulsecan is a hexagon. And so, you know, there's a lot of people that have to decide at that point, like, do we embrace some of the shit coins that are on PulseChain? Or do you go and say, no, I'm not about that because Richard doesn't like meme coins? And then we got NFTs, and then we're like, well, do we embrace that? Because Richard once said that he doesn't like NFTs. So do I not like NFTs? But yeah, NFTs are also performing. Like Mintra, like, was performing like crazy. The HOA gang, shout out to them. Hex Orange Address, also Teddy. All these kind of meme coins and a lot of NFT collections are doing very, very well. So it's like, what do you embrace, and where do you decide where the brand's going to go, or what you accept? Because now we're a layer one. We're so much bigger than just one coin, although I think that one coin is fantastic, but we've expanded and evolved.
Yeah, I think that's probably the strength of our community too, is that, you know, the influencers, content creators, you're able to choose which ones that you think are the best. You're able to promote the ones that you're very interested in. Otherwise, like for example, me, I'm not very interested in NFTs or memes or stuff like that. I like positive feedback loops that are clear to me based on my evaluation. I've went over a bunch of times on the show before too, but I'm glad they exist, and I'm glad other people are interested in them, and I'm glad other content creators are interested in them, because those, you know, if they are successful, they bring other people in. You know, it's not even about, like, you don't even have to like the different projects here. It's just that, you know, and you choose, everyone has their prerogative what they want to talk about, when they want to promote and spotlight. But the fact that they exist, and there's people who are, you know, just making it a point to bring attention to them. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that. Just I like to bring attention to certain things myself, and not others. So I'm glad we have so many content creators that it gives the projects that, you know, some people like, some people don't. It still gives them opportunity to shine. Now, whether they shine or not, that's TBD. That's up in the air. We'll see. But at least the opportunities that's one of our core strengths for sure. And yeah, I think I was thinking about this today about just it being so hard in the bear. I almost think that now I'm more excited to stream because I started streaming in the bear. You know, I've been around forever, but I only started coming out in the community a couple years ago on Twitter and stuff like that. But having started streaming in the bear or at the top around that time, I'm actually more motivated when the price is down to come out and talk, because I feel like I'm needed more. It's one of those things, like when things are green, I feel like you don't, you know, it's fun to talk. It's fun to like, oh, congrats. Oh, you guys are awesome. But really, I get more motivated. Like today, you know, we had a couple of days of red, which to me don't matter at all. But I feel even more compelled to come out and do these streams, because I'm like, you know, people out there who just don't get it, or just want to be told something nice, or just, hey, they just want to hang out, and there's not this big celebration happening. for them, or they don't see it as this great thing yet, or maybe they're not convinced, or whatever it is, whatever uncertainty or anxiety they have. I think that's when, people come out and stream. That's the most helpful. At least that's the way I've thought about it. Maybe that's the way I've coped with the bear market the entire time, but I think it's a very healthy way of thinking about it too, because it is about bringing the value to me. It's about saying, how can I help, rather than how can I be celebrated? Like, that's cool, I like to be celebrated, but helping and providing value and utility, that's why I started streaming.
A lot of people felt betrayal when people stepped out of the bear market. A lot of people felt betrayed by those influencers, or betrayed by the fact that, maybe people made profit and they just bounced. I actually felt a little sense of betrayal. So if I felt it, I'm sure that the audience felt it. And at times I felt like, wow, they've just disappeared. And
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it. I just want to say one anecdote there. I didn't mind anyone who disappeared who's not streaming right now. Just my personal opinion. I'm totally okay with it. Like, you come back when you're ready. I just hope you don't go to another community. That's the only thing. Like, if you go to another community and start doing it, I'm like, okay, like, I prefer that not happen if I had a choice. But if you're taking a break and, or, whatever's going on, like, at least I'm okay with it. I try to do no expectations. I'm like, I'm here. I may disappear one day. You guys may never see me again. After the stream, I could never do another stream. And I hope everyone's like, yeah, he did enough. He did enough. He gave more than he took away, that sort of thing. So anyone out there who hasn't streamed, I didn't feel that, at least. But sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. I just wanted to. That was very particularly nuanced. I think I have a different opinion on.
Who's your favorite singer or band?
Good question, man. I don't have a lot of recent ones. Most of them stopped.
Right. Is there a band that is there a band that you can think of in your mind that did 1 or 2 albums, got big, and then disappeared? Like, how disappointing is that when they did? For me, it's like the worst thing in the world, and it's like it's the same feeling I find. That's where I say the sense of betrayal. It's like, oh damn, we supported and we were talking about it, and then you just disappeared. Yeah, I'm just happy with the performance. Bryceology in the chat.
I'm hearing your Bryceology. I know. I'm thinking of, like, I don't know. I thought of Akon when you said disappeared. Never, they had like he was like crazy good for like 3 years, and then just nothing. I'm like, what, dude? What happened? I thought we were in this together. So I felt that, but it's like, well, there's plenty of other, the analogy is plenty of other people in the community, plenty of other up and coming people, or other people to be celebrated for providing value. So to me, it's just like, I don't know, I just kind of move on to the next person and hope to lift them up and make them happy to promote this stuff. Like, that's the biggest thing in the bear market is I don't want people to leave. And if they leave, hopefully they come back. But if we can prevent them from leaving, and even if they say some stupid stuff or you don't agree with them, or they take a strong position or whatever, that doesn't, I may not promote their stuff. I may not have them on the show all the time or whatever. But the fact that they have a voice out there that are getting people in our ecosystem, that's valuable enough for me to at least, at least not wish they went away. Like, I'm glad there's literally people here that I disagree with in the ecosystem quite a bit, but I don't hope they don't stop. I hope they don't stop streaming anytime soon. I want them to keep streaming, even if I don't agree with them, because they're valuable.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. There's a lot of people I disagree with, and I think people know who they are and who I've made them public. But yeah, it's important. There's got to be guys who are more 10,000x. There's got to be guys who are more conservative in their predictions. There's got to be guys who hex only. There's got to be guys who pulse only. There's a real nice mix, and you need those people because you need an army of people to go out there and talk about it and speak the loudest and be loud and stuff like that. That's what we need, and that's what makes it a very interesting, unique blockchain and ecosystem and group of people. Even as some people say, cult.
Cool. I'm okay if cult means that you're loyal to a brand that you believe is the best, and you want to get other people involved because you want to help them solve their problems and overcome, be the best version of themselves in their lives. If that's a cult, I think I signed up. I think that's a healthy. I'm going to call it a healthy cult, if nothing else. Whether you put your time and energy in and no expectations, but you may have the maddest of gains. I'm okay with that.
Well, there's Bitcoin cult. There's there's XRP cult. It's ADA cult. I mean, during the bear market, I was watching other stuff. I was watching what people were doing outside of our little chamber as well. Particularly got more into Cardano's stuff, particularly Charles Hoskinson's streams and stuff. And it's interesting because some of the same things that are said about Richard was being said about Charles as well. And they're somewhat alike. Maybe Richard's a little bit more extreme with it, but you start to realize, oh man, the same thing that was getting said about the Hex guys or the Richard Hart ecosystem is the same things happening on that side of the pond as well. So it's good perspective. It's very good perspective, because then when you come back here, it's like, oh, I get it. I understand where this is coming from, and it's just someone trying to get some troll in and some likes, and they're trying to engage with you and trying to bait you out.
Yeah. So, yeah. If Charles went twerking or shopping a lot, then maybe he would get some more hate.
I still find it funny though, because there's a lot of people that will take the like twerking video of Richard Hart, and they'll be like, my life savings are in the hands of this man. And I actually like it because you've also got the Vitalik Buterin one as well, which is like when Vitalik does something extremely autistic, they'll be like, well, my net worth is in this man's hands. Yeah, I wouldn't want it any other way.
It is cracked me up because there's so many things, so many I feel like Richard is one of the people who you can see. It's like, what is the phrase, like, if shoot, it's escaping me too, but it's like, only believe half of what you hear, and so much of what you see, and all this stuff. It's like, if you see Richard in the outrage marketing stuff, it's easy to just see that, know nothing about him, and produce some label, produce some meme, produce something about him that's funny, probably hateful, but like funny too. There's plenty of funny memes that are like people ragging against him. It's funny, whatever. But if they even took a look and really tried to understand any of thing that he's about, it would completely change the way they looked at him. And it's not even like a ecosystem bubble thing. It's like, the dude's literally trying to be a force for good in the world, and there are no victims, and he hasn't scammed anyone, and he's minted so many millionaires. Like, I don't know, if we had a list of millionaires minted by different people, different founders of different blockchains, he would be at least on the top 10 or top 5 of that list. I don't know, maybe Vitalik's going to beat, but I mean, it's just one of those things where he's comically misunderstood, one of those things. And for good reason. Like, he did all kinds of outrageous things that are easy to make you look misunderstood. But that's what I'm bullish on, that sentiment too, because when people see, they can ignore what happened with Hex all they want, but once they see what happens with PulseChain, if glory does come, what we hope to see, then I'm excited for all the apologies. I'm excited for all the I was wrong. I'm excited for all the, hey, let's support this guy. He's actually fighting for freedom, fighting for crypto, fighting for his people. He's actually not a bad guy. He just, it's some outrage marketing stuff. Like, the narrative can change so quickly once we get 10,000 green candles, that sort of thing. So I'm excited for that. And not because anyone owes us an apology. I don't feel like anyone owes me anything, or ecosystem or anything else. That's just one of my principles. But I just think the ability for them to recognize the value in what he's created, that's world changing, man. The more people with big brains who realize it, like, it's these ideals are unstoppable. Forget Hex, forget PulseChain. The ideal. I'm a maxi for his ideals. Like, Hex and PulseChain are just an extension of that, and moneymakers, that sort of thing. But like, once people understand that stuff, like, that's when we're going to really, change the world, if you will.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that it will ever come. Like, even if every single product in RH's ecosystem does a 10,000x this cycle, I don't think they'll ever acknowledge it.
What percentage? What percentage? There's got to be some people who'd be converted, right? Like, not 100%, but like,
I mean, you're going to get some people who are going to say that might change their mind, or that he might get invited somewhere, but
like 15%, 10-15%.
Yeah, I mean, who does Morales money? It's Ivan. Ivan's been good, but like a guy like Altcoin Daily, for example, who I recently called out. I was on his show. I was on his Twitter space, but like, they still have this. They just have like a bee in their bonnet, That's probably the best way to describe it. They just seem to not like Richard, maybe because it is quite successful and it has done very, very well. I don't get why there's such a bee in their bonnet, but maybe because Richard pissed off a lot of people in the past and called him out. But then that was part of why you kind of enjoyed him, because you were like, well, he's very, very smart and intellectually superior to a lot of these individuals.
Well,
and
there's nothing in it for them.
Say again.
There's nothing in it for him. Like, for them to recognize that he is right does nothing for them. There's only downside. There's no benefit in them acknowledging that, unless they have a bag, unless they're, in tune to the principles and are on board with, the stuff he's trying to do. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
And there's a lot of egos in this space as well, man. There's a lot of egos in this space. Everyone wants to be right and no one wants to be told that they're wrong. I've got it wrong many times, but
what about the new people coming in though? Like the old, so you have the people who know about Richard, they've seen all of them for the years and years. Well, it's new people coming in, creating these products, new founders. There's going to be explosions in new ecosystems, bull run happens. Like, do you think new people will be more apathetic to, Richard and the community and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think so. I think that the focus has to change from, we're now very much a building great DeFi products on PulseChain. And a lot of people will say, well, no, you fork a load of products that were already on Ethereum. I don't know that many chains that have done that. Actually, I don't know any chains. Yes. Usually it's like the brand itself. So for example, let's take 1inch or something like that. Usually it's 1inch that then moves their product onto a different chain, or I'm just using that as an example, right? Because I know there's someone in the chat that's going to be like, no. Yeah, something like that. Whereas we're forking it and creating our kind of own version of it. Yes, a lot of the code is the same, etc. But we're the ones who are going to have it ready. I remember talking to a friend of mine who was big into doing stuff on Ethereum in particular, and I'd be like saying to him, "Hey, we've got an Aave fork." He's like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, we've got GMX, we've got Aave, we got 1inch, we've got Balancer, etc." And he was just, he was pretty blown away that it was done so quickly, because we've only had the chain since May, so
8 months or so.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean it's, I don't know, like, for people who are not impressed over forked products on a new chain that are locking up tons of TVL, I'm just like, do you even crypto, bro? Like, what do you think this stuff comes from? Like, we get people to lock up money and we play hopefully healthy games that let people earn money over time and participate in volume and ideas and innovation and tech. And not everything has to be new, but you're locking up money and providing a service and utility and value to a chain. You don't need new code for everything. Like, I don't get the criticism for that.
Yeah, if it's successful on Ethereum, right? Like, let's be honest, that is pretty much the blockchain that is number one, and it's the most used, and it's the one that's probably printing more millionaires than anyone else, whether that through DeFi products. Then why not? Why not just take what they've got and try and do it better? Let's try and bring it onto our chain, and we're cheaper, quicker. We still have to work on a few things. I think some of our weaknesses is fiat on ramps. We need fiat on ramps. I also would like the idea of trying to go after exchanges a bit more as well. I really did like when we first started, we had what was it called? They sponsor Manchester United, OKX, I think it was. No, yeah, OKX.
Yeah, OKX. They got delisted.
Yeah, and then got delisted. But for those of you who weren't in the States, that was so convenient, because I would be putting limit orders in when you were selling down, and they'd be fulfilled overnight, which is great, because I go to bed and you Americans would be selling down the price and I'd be buying it up. So it was great. It was great for people outside of the US. I don't think they were providing services for people in the US, but like, yeah, I think usually that's the sign of a top signal is when it gets listed on exchanges, but I think that will happen probably next cycle. I think
I just want to say too. That you mentioned limit orders. Yeah, have you used Omnis? Yeah, it's awesome.
Tetra's going to be exciting, man. Very exciting.
Yeah. You're gonna have to update this for Tetra, man. It's brand new code though, so it's you're gonna have to say it wasn't forked, wasn't not a copy of anything. Tetra
Innovation.
Yeah, you want to go over this and just kind of tell people, give people an overview. Again, amazing work on this. Really good job just kind of breaking it down. But yeah, what's interesting about PulseChain with these products?
Yeah, I mean, you just have a look, and this was literally just 6 products that I chose that I thought like a lot of people would be interested in who are outside of our ecosystem. But for example, Uniswap is ours is PulseX, Liquidity is Liquid Loans, Aave, Fiat, 1inch or CowSwap, Piteous or Piteous as some people say, Balancer is Fux, and GMX is Fame as well. And so I just like that, especially I like going back to the GMX example, so the GMX Fame example, because when there's haters, the best thing about when someone's like hating on the price and saying that it's going down is like, okay, put a bet on it and then show me your bet. No, I don't want to dox myself. Okay, stop chatting shit then. Unless you're going to leverage up and put a short on, let's see.
Put your money where your mouth is. We have products for that.
We have the products for it, yeah. And you can do it and I think there was a guy. It does my head in when these guys get so much engagement because they got like a golden gecko or like a whale chart picture or something like that. And people like to interact with it so much because they've bought 100,000 Indian followers on Twitter. But, a lot of people were going at this altcoin, not altcoin, sorry, this golden gecko pictured individual and going, well, go short it then. Go short the price. Why not? And that's what I want to see. Instead of just engaging and going, no, instead of just going, go on then, short it. Let's see if you're about that life. I don't think you're about that life. Cool. So yeah, I love these products. I really do love these products. It's funny, man. Like I posted this status, and then you can never get it 100% correct. People are often quick to give you feedback on it when it gets some views, but yeah, it was a good little infographic, and I like this kind of stuff. This is the stuff that people should be producing. Literally, it just costs you about £10 a month on Canva. I think you can even do it for free on Canva.
Canva is a game changer. You have to get it if you're going to produce content. It's
fantastic. And so these things, like these infographics here, are really easy to make. Obviously, I tried to fit it in, not specifically for the Twitter page, but it was to try and fit in all of this data here, all of these kind of short descriptions of what each product does. But it's very powerful and effective. I think that's got like 13k views and 500 likes and 200 plus retweets or 192 retweets. So those kind of things, when that goes out into the stratosphere of Twitter, and people from outside of our ecosystem looking in can see that, they can understand what's being built. And then my goal probably in the future would be to get onto some of these bigger channels, maybe the Altcoin Daily are doing Twitter space, and when they do mention something about Richard, is be like, well, what about everything else that's built on PulseChain? Like, we built so much, and just kind of really destroy them from an intellectual argument, kind of going at their ignorance and saying, well, we've built this, and this. So what are you talking about? We've got this, we've got this, we've got this. You're just focusing on one person. You don't understand what's being built behind this because they don't know it. We know it. They don't know it.
You think if they saw around 400 million TVL, that they would think twice before they made some, sly remark that just didn't amount to anything but their opinion?
Yeah, 100%. When you look at I think the TVL right now, if I look at DeFi Llama, I think we're just dropped from 9 to 11 at the moment, 377 mil. And we've been in that top 10. We've been above Optimism and Avalanche, Polygon, and those are being pushed as big L2s this season because of gas fees on Ethereum. And just the other day, people were talking about Solana, especially during that bonk run up. So yeah, we're the real Ethereum killers. That's the truth. We're the L1 killer. even though we're an L1, but we're the new L1. You know, I compare ourselves to what the agenda gets pushed out by these kind of altcoin channels that have like big subscribers, and they're pushing out Say and Sui and Aptos, and we're well above them. Like, we're destroying them in TVL, and we were destroying them the whole time. We've just taken back our #1 position above the newest L1s this season, but we are way better than them.
Yeah, just on the list here: Cardano, Chronos, Sui, Bitcoin, Kava, Gnosis, just Thorchain, all the stuff.
Bro, we're above Bitcoin, aren't we? And they got ordinals, right?
I believe that's probably how they're ranking it. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at Bitcoin on DeFi Llama before, but yeah, EOS is still around. Algorand, all these 2017, 2020 narratives and stuff. Even the newer ones, like you mentioned Sui as well. Killing it, dude. Cardano. I mean, we're number 11 right now, but it would be nothing. It would just be a few more green candles, and we'd be back to number 9 at least, right below Avalanche. Oh.
Take the next 6 months, take the next year, you know, wherever the all-time high ends up hitting, whether that be in 24, 25, it's like we'll be in that top 5 for sure, like in terms of TVL. And particularly they've started listing on DeFi Llama, they've started listing what's been locked up through liquid loans as well. That was a new feature they've brought in, which is great. I know to a lot of people who have been in Hex and they were kind of there from day one, and they'll say, well, these things don't matter, we've been gate kept, we're that community that just gets through, it doesn't matter, we'll do our thing. Well, yeah and no. I mean, I still want the brand to be recognized, I still want us to be put in our rightful position, I still want us to be there, and we have the backing, we have the loudest community, so we can push this out. If we see ourselves in the top 10, I say, what, we're going to be the loudest out of these people, right? I know, apart from mainstream influencers talking about Sui, there's the other 5 L1 blockchains that have come out in 22, 23. They ain't got anything on us. Not a single thing on us. They haven't got the community. They haven't got the content creators. They haven't got half the inspirational people, I would say, individuals who are at this every day and are excited and get up in the morning and want to look on Twitter and want to talk about blockchain and want to talk about technology and want to talk about crypto. They haven't got that. They haven't got that passion. That is what you're looking for, right? When we talk about cult, you want passion, you want drive, you want people to be excited and invested and somewhat emotionally invested in what they've purchased and what they are pushing out there as a narrative to World Wide Web. So we've got that. These new L1 blockchains, they don't have any of that. And they're not in our league. They're not in our league.
A lot of the mercenaries too, just VCs paying devs to do stuff. It's like, you know, it's hard to build a community of people who won't leave doing stuff like that. Not like us.
Go to, if you see on that left-hand side, go to token unlocks. It should be.
I just want to say on this real quick. Nothing on the show's financial. Nothing on the show is financial advice. However, I'd be very shocked if PulseChain. I mean, Solana's only got 1.38 billion. $1 billion TVL is nothing for PulseChain. Like we're halfway there, and the green candles, we've been beaten down so much, and the protocol, we don't have all the protocols launched or anything. So yeah, you said top 5. I mean, just imagine if we went above Solana, just above Solana, not even just above Solana. We you know, somewhere we're competing with BSC or something. I mean, just imagine. I mean, how many people are going to be like, "What is PulseChain? What is PulseChain? How to get on PulseChain?" Like, great marketing, great marketing. Yeah. Would you want me to go?
Yeah, if you just go down, keep going near the bottom there, there's unlocks. You'll probably see it here. Yeah, there. Perfect. So you'll see, right? Like on that list, Optimism was on that list, Avalanche was on that list that I think were above us, right? Token unlocks. If you go further down, Sui's on that list here, right? Let's go a little bit further. I'm just trying to think what's Aptos, right? Boom. There's another one. Aptos. Arbitrum. There we go. And if you click on, if you go to your right by Arbitrum, and then if you go to keep going here, there, right there. So you'll see, right, the value of the unlocks that are coming out. This is March 22nd, 2024. So in 2 months' time, and these are two separate unlocks, by the way, right? So you got 1.2 billion of tokens being unlocked, and then 438 ARB, which is $802 million at today's value in 2 months' time. And these are the scumbag VC unlocks that constantly come in and dump on the heads of a lot of people who listen to mainstream altcoin influencers who said, hey, look where Arbitrum is, or look where Optimism is, or look where Avalanche is, or look where Aptos or Sui is. This is the next chain of the future. Yeah, they're going to get dumped on in the next 2 months, destroyed, right? They're going to buy the top, or they're going to significantly destroy their bag, whilst VCs and other people dump on them.
Explain to people too why PulseChain isn't on this list.
Because we had a sacrifice phase and everyone got their tokens at initial launch, and it was as simple as that. Is if people want to talk about fair crypto and stuff, everyone, obviously people got in at sacrifice rates and they got better rates than others, but those tokens start from day one. So you take something like PulseX, right? It's deflationary supply from day one, and you can buy and sell whenever you want. You have a free market in a sense of being able to buy and sell and do whatever you want. If you want to dump it and get out, you can get out. If you want to buy it, you've not got an unlock happening in 2 months' time where nearly $1 billion is going to be dumped on your head potentially.
Yeah, this is sort of by soonest, and this is like this week. It looks like this week, $314 million.
It's insane, huh? 2%.
$2 million. Oh, that was 2%. That's the supply. Wow, 2% of the supply getting unlocked in a couple days for what is this chain? Is that AVAX?
Yes, oh, wow.
Yeah. Top chain, guys. Top chain. That's watch out if you're on AVAX. Be aware. Be aware.
Right, and I bet you in the next, we got 2 days, right? If we go watch something like Altcoin Daily or someone like that, I bet you the mainstream influencers.
Here's why you don't have to worry about AVAX unlock.
They won't even talk about the unlocks. This is the problem, because it's like they'll keep it quiet, and they'll pump up the bag, right? They'll be like, oh yeah, this is the next big thing. Like Ethereum's having its problems with gas fees. It's unbelievable. Let's go with an EVM L2. It's amazing. This is why Avalanche is so good. Blah 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 blah. Suckers buy, and then boom, they get stabbed in the back.
Oh, man, the chat has been telling me that apparently we were pamping, so that's time for the gotta pump it up, gotta pump it up. My favorite intro of all time, yeah. Money intro of all time. My favorite one. It'll come back one day. You gotta play it for a throwback one day, man.
For sure, man. For sure, I gotta do it. Yeah, it's pumping, man. Oh my goodness! Wow. Is that a
hour 244? What are we at?
That's a 20% wick up. Holy, that is on Hex.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't see much on the rest of it. Hex, I'm seeing some stuff.
That's eHex.
Wow, what was that?
Was that a Godwhale cam?
Yeah, I was like, I'm. You know what? The first thing that came to mind is, did somebody make a video about it yet? It's the first thing I thought. Yeah. Wow. Somebody's buying. So that's the daily. Let's look at the 15. Wow, that is nice. What is that?
Wow, even Hex on Pulse is pumping as well. That's up 13% for the day. That's
what I'm looking at right now. Yeah, 13. Nice. Yeah, I mean, Hex is a lot of people have been talking about it, man. It's been the one, bond of liquidity. So if you believe in Hart's law and all that fancy theory stuff, you may also believe that things go up together if they're heavily tied in bond and liquidity. But Hex is definitely, has it went up the least so far? I believe. I think incentive went up like crazy. PulseX went up like crazy. I think it's like incentive number 1, 2 PulseX, 3 PLS, 2. I'm going to say 1 of the hexes, 4 1 of the hexes, and 5 1 of the hexes. Is that right? Sound about right?
I think so. I mean, it depends where you're coming from the bottom of the kind of bare bottom, or from this kind of mini pump since the 7th, I believe it was, of January. But yeah, the money's piling in, man. Like I'm looking at the clips. There's quite a bit coming in, especially on EHEX. I think everyone's concern with EHEX has always been the BankX account, right? Because a lot of people were like the guys at BankX, they have about 700 million
We're at a
EHEX
penny.
left.
Yeah. It's at 700 million. Did they sell some, or did they never sell any yet? I can't remember.
Yeah, they sold about 200 million hex. They also had put in some stakes, but then I also have the perspective that when I talk to some of the older guys who have been in the game from day one, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was about a day's worth of inflation during the run up to big payday.
Oh yeah, payday. So people were talking about yeah. What was somebody did a video on BankX recently too. I think he mentioned it, where people were like, who's gonna buy hex after big payday? It's that's the big event. That's why everyone's holding. And of course there was a dip, but yeah, there was the big payday was a huge event. A lot of payouts that day, and man, there's still stakes. There's still man, if you got a pre-big payday stake, like that's like a first edition Charizard card, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, you know how big it is and all that, but it's pretty cool.
ID Block's got he's got a native stake from those days, and I think it's about 90% APR, which is pretty insane.
Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah, Godwhale. So I was looking at Godwhale the other day too, and he's locked up 14 years. He has like $56 worth of liquid hex, one of the hexes. It's all staked. And he's got, so many million, so many billion, whatever it is. And then, what was it? Let me pull it up real quick. It's really interesting. It's on Hex Scout. Let's see, portfolio. There's something really funny about this too. So Godwhale came back on Twitter recently, by the way, and he followed me.
Yeah.
It's so funny. He follows like 50 people, and I saw Godwhale. The real team Godwhale's followed you. I'm like, hold on, the Godwhale's followed me? Sweet. Shout out to Godwhale. The chat of chats.
He really likes Tetra, huh? Not Tetra, Mintra.
I hope so.
Maybe I just showed Tetra to him.
Freudian slip.
People love that.
Yeah. So his hex went up $100 worth of liquid staked. Every now and I see like billion. We talk about billion PLS and all this stuff. Yeah, it's impressive. If you got 4 billion hex, bro, 4 billion hex.
That's insane, right? 37 mil in USD.
Yeah, 30. And look at this. Look at this per day. 52K daily. Every day the dude is on paper, right? Like there's no liquidity sale, even if they were liquid right now. However, if you're thinking years and years in the future, which is how everyone gets rich ever, compound interest over time, delayed gratification, all that stuff, 52K daily. Every month, 1.59 million per month.
Look at the APY, right?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Special 95. This was 90. I think it was 92% a couple of days ago when I looked at it. 95% APY. Now, anyone tells you, 38% APY is such a scam, dude. This guy is getting like 2 or 3 times that much. Yeah, he locked up a lot over time, but hey, you can lock up a lot over time too, right? Amazing.
Yeah,
just amazing. Shout out to Godwhale.
Yeah, I got time for the Godwhale. I kind of come to the realization that I don't think it's Richard after the BankX shenanigans, and then also kind of guys insiders. That sounds bad because someone's going to clip that up and then put it all over Twitter. But
go inside.
Yeah, we're also. Yeah, but I heard that he's based somewhere over in the Asian parts of the world. Let's just say that. So.
Well, I mean, if he's one of the people who went to Thailand to live cheap, bro, I got to tell you, you can live okay anywhere in the world with this kind of fat stack. Imagine when we have like products where you can get liquidity, not just, with liquid stuff, but, collateralizing. I don't know how many these are HSIs or native stakes. Are probably native stakes, I would imagine, a lot of them, because I know you locked them up really early. He was locking up like millions of hex for 15 years, super, super early. But if he's able to take loans and stuff on this, eventually we have bigger financial products that are secured by, however it may work in the future. This dude can live anywhere, do anything he wants, and all because he believed early in a project that totally made sense. Imagine that. He believed early in a project that made sense. And you look around the community, how small it was then, how big it is now, it still makes sense. It still makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's probably Roger Ver. Shout out to Roger Ver. If it is, that's cool too. Roger Ver, he's another Chad.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy, man. He met up with, who is it? Gary Woods and Silver the Antidote as well. And over, I think they met up in a conference over in Malaysia. It's good to see that, man. It's really good to see the networking that Gary does, and many of those guys do. Silver does as well. They're really doing some good stuff behind the scenes.
The real life meetups. Shout out to everyone who's going to, like, you know, I've done like local hex meetups. I spoke at the PulseChain tour and stuff. But the people who are going to conferences, we got, you know, going to real estate conferences or just going out to conferences in general, crypto conferences, meeting people, meeting famous people, letting people know, hey, I'm a Hexagon, or I invested in Pulse, or hey, I'm just a regular person who you know has all these goals and aspirations, and I believe in this ecosystem. Just being a person who spreads love, not hate. Whatever drama I keep hearing people. Only drama I see is people tweeting about the drama going on. I don't know what I'm doing on Twitter. Whatever I'm doing is working because I don't see anything, and it's fantastic, and I love it. My feed is like precisely just what I need, just information that I can go talk about and disseminate as I need to. But only tweets I see is like people talking about drama when the red candles happen. So it's kind of amazing. So please, I hope that keeps happening. It makes life better for sure.
It definitely makes it a bit more Jerry Springer. Yeah.
Yeah. We have a city, right? And it's got one of everything in it. And there's a Springer studio there as well. If you want to join it, feel free to not do that as well. How did Godwhale make his money? ETH? Isn't he a big ETH well? Is that the origin story?
Yeah, Genesis ETH. ETH well. Yeah, Genesis.
He sacked 5555 for PulseChain, I believe. 5555 ETH. I believe that's what it was. Yeah. Among his other sacks as well.
Well, I think it's insane getting into ETH so early on, right? I mean, but you know what? I do wonder. This is something that's gone through my mind. There's one product that's outperformed both Bitcoin and ETH, and it's Shiba Inu. How big is the Moon King's bag? That's my question. How big is B Roots' bag? Because he got in early and that thing pumped to the moon. And I saw him, I think, move a bunch of ship across and then back and then across again on PulseChain. I don't know if you saw it on the bridge.
I didn't see it. No.
Yeah, I think it was like a $1 million clip that he was moving across back and forth, maybe to try and kind of pluck up some movement. But yeah, SHIB did better than any both ETH and Ethereum in terms of price performance. So he may be the secret Godwhale. I don't know.
Whoever he is, like we're happy he's here, and we hope to be many Godwhales. We hope Godwhales proliferate the ecosystem. Benevolent whales, more benevolent whales, the better.
Yeah.
Dude, 126 mil. The bridge just keeps going up. This was like 60, 70, 80 million like a month or two ago. It's just what more do you want, everyone? You can't be like, I need hockey stick or I'm not happy. You can't, like, that's not practical. Even we're an amazing ecosystem, but that's not, first of all, I don't think it's healthy. I think would you rather have a chart where everything just goes up and right and then has a horrible natural, obviously going to happen because people run out of money eventually, even their benevolent whales crash down 80-90%? Or do you want a staircase? Do you want a step ladder? Do you want something that, hey, give people a chance to get in? Oh, it's not too late for you. Oh, we just go up a little bit more. Oh, that kind of thing. Be realistic. Which one do you want? Obviously, the latter is better, healthier, and more amazing.
That's how Hex did it, right? That's how Hex did it. I put a post, I think it's the most recent Twitter post, and people really liked it. Was just basically a video of what Hex did, and it was, keep going down. Sorry, I was doing some trolling today. Is P-Dye in the room with you? This one here, so this video here, it's got a bit of a soundtrack, so if you're monetized, you might, it's a Travis.
Sorry, I have no audio. However,
that's fine.
I can play the video
Yeah.
portion.
Oh, that's fine. That's good. Yeah. So you can.
Oops. How can I?
Bottom right corner. You want it?
Yeah.
Yeah. There.
That'll full screen it on my whole
Yes.
screen.
It will, yeah.
I'm not sure if everyone will see it. Can you see it?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't think it'll work. We'll see the small version though. But yeah, this is you wanna explain it?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So I kind of did it in the latest video that I did, but this essentially the token went down 94%, then it went up 1,700%, then it went down 79%, then it went up 170%, then it went down 42%, and then it went up 512%, then it went down 67%, then it went up 282%, then went down 35%, then went up 601%, went down 30%, went up 228%, then went down 53%, then went up 66%, then went down 43%, then went up 110%, then down 61%, then up 525, then down 91, then up 1,419%, went down 63%, went up 122%, went down 51%, went up 262%, went down 46%, went up 397%, went down 51%, went up 199%, went down 34%, went up 235%, went down 66%, and then went up to 660% to hit 56 cents. And that, my friends, is how you do 10,000x.
Wow. It almost seems too obvious. It almost seems like is it just people just don't believe? Like, how do you make them believe? If you have the data, you have the chart, you have the community, you have the people, you have the whales. What else do they need to see? Like, I don't know why people think this is just like, it can't happen to them. Is it just literally like self-sabotage? Like what, why don't they believe in Hex and PulseChain stuff, man? After they saw this.
It's kind of interesting that, so I'm trying to theorize this in my head because I wonder what may happen with Pulse and PulseX, because unlike Hex, there is no staking mechanism. So there's going to be probably in my head, this is theorized, is that I believe that there's probably going to be more volatility because there's nothing to prevent you from just locking up your tokens and not worrying about the price.
I would say two things that may help there, that they don't replicate staking for Hex, of course, but validators, there's like, I think 1.5 trillion or whatever, but yeah, only nerds do that, or people delegate to nerds, I guess.
Correct.
And then gas, you need for gas, right? You can't ever get rid of all your Ethereum unless you just never want to use Ethereum again. So those two things I think are helpful, but yeah, there's not the primary function like Hex is for sure.
Yeah. And so it's going to be real interesting to see. I mean, we've got so much time. If we didn't have this pump on the 7th, obviously the whole sentiment was completely different, beginning of this month. But it's flipped, like it's really positioned itself into a really nice spot. And then, do you want to bet against the guy that did 10,000x last bull run? I don't know.
That's another thing. Like, I don't know why people do that. Like, you see someone who won, and you're like, they can't do it again. Even though the dude is literally, if you watched any of his old interviews, he is a serial winner in so many different verticals. Yeah, billionaire genius founder guys, I like to call them. How do you bet against it? How are you in good conscience? I think it's literally just people they believe they have nothing to lose, and they only have something to, or they have nothing to gain and only have something to lose. Like they frame it in a way where, no, if I participate in this, then I can't, like they don't have that trust. They don't have that trust because either they don't know Richard, they don't like what they've seen the first time, or they just can't believe it. Like one of those things, like one of those verticals I feel like most of the haters or just non-supporters fit into. They just can't trust it, can't believe it, or don't think it'll happen again. Even though the dude, his ethos is, what we've seen been happening. And, just because he was just not hanging out for, even then. So him not being around a lot last year, obvious strategy, obviously for good reasons, getting everything together. I talked about this extensively, but it's not like he went radio silent. He was still tweeting. He still was, this PulseChain launched, right? He did the hostage video. We got some other stuff out. But we didn't need him. All right, like you want to have your figurehead around. You love to see his streams, but at the same time, the ecosystem, everything still worked. All the validators kept the network running. He didn't. What did he need to do? He did. He tried some PulseX farm copy stuff that he tested it and it didn't work, at least at that time. What else, like what were people expecting from him? I guess what were you thinking that made it just turn into this? Was it just price go down? Was it literally candle colors? If price would have remained above SAC, do you think people would have like made such a big deal about it?
It's a good question. It's a good question. I think looking back on it now, like foresight's always a bit of a blessing, but I think looking back on it now, obviously it all seems part of the master plan. But I think a lot of people thought that they were deserted. I think that's probably where it comes from. But if they wanted to sell, they wanted to sell, and they got themselves out. And hey, they can buy back at a higher price, and it's still early. Like it's still extremely early. But yeah, a lot of people just didn't like it. They just didn't like the outrage marketing when the price was going down, and they just they wanted to believe certain narratives, and probably because the narrative wasn't necessarily as controlled as it could have been. So I don't know, maybe that was tactically something that Richard did, but the narrative, it was much easier to hear the haters during complete radio silence from Richard. But that's fine, because there may have been a lot of people that got into the sacrifice phase who weren't believers in the product in the first place. They just wanted price go up. And so you kind of have to filter and flush those people out. I know I've had disagreements with people about this, but tactically speaking, when you sacrifice that much amount of money, you do have to flush some of those hands to make a good run, because they're not really true believers. It is kind of like being VC backed, because the VCs are going to just dump it anyway. They in a typical VC backed coin, all they care about is once the price is in profit, they'll just dump. So a lot of people kind of came in with that mentality, I believe, coming into the sacrifice phases, and they need to be flushed out. They need to leave. They need to leave with no profit on the table. They need to leave with loss. And I'm happy that happened, because there's balance to everything, and not everyone should win, especially if they've just come in to try and make a bit of a quick buck and get out. They don't need to win. They can go somewhere else. Come back later.
Yeah, certainly seems like what happened. We had just you could just see it in the social media metrics, and otherwise just so many people either hating on or just not talking about. Like that was the thing, is like just not talking about that. The hashtags were just not the way that they used to be in this past fall, at least until January. I feel like we, as a sentiment, as a community, as a I talked about with Dip Catcher, gradual broke syndrome.
Yeah.
Instead of sudden wealth syndrome, we had gradual broke syndrome the last little bit, and it's like, man, I hope they come back. I hope that people, I guess the best case here I can think of is maybe they sold early, they sold below SAC or whatever it was, and then they see what's happening, they're paying attention, they turn their phone notification stuff back on, and then they like, oh, this thing's over SAC again, sentiment looks good, all this stuff. And I do hope there are some, I hope there are some stories later on. We talk to people, or they're on, Twitter or whatever, and they're like, hey, I gave up and then I came back and I got to win. And I am thankful for that. Like, I hope we have some of those cool, because that's some cool stories,
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I really do hope that we see that. But yeah, people chased other green candles. I think the hardest part recently was when most of the altcoin market was moving up, and then not to see our products move up. And I just remember, it's a really sad story actually, but one of my close mates who bought a load of Hex and Pulse, I had a 4-hour conversation with him about he wanted to just deploy somewhere else, and he kept some Hex, but he ended up selling quite a bit of his Hex and Pulse bags and PulseX bags. And I was just like, man, like, please don't do it. I wasn't begging, almost begging him, I was like, He's like, well, he doesn't care. He doesn't blah, 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 blah. He's not. I said, I don't know, man. He's on Twitter every day. I don't know what more that you want. Maybe a live stream, but yeah, but everything else is pumping. And he literally sold before this pump. Like he sold bags at the lowest point, and I've not even talked to him about it because I just know that he's probably very sunken.
Dude, I've literally had that thought of people I've onboarded in the sacrifice. I don't even want to like talk to them right now. I haven't wanted to talk to them this entire time because I don't want them to know it's even a sack, because I don't want them to be tempted to sell early, for example. And I definitely didn't want to talk to them when it was way below sack, especially for the PulseX people, because I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, remember that thing? Hey, let's talk about that thing that I told you about that you got into and now you're down like 80%. No, I'm not. I don't want. Let's wait. Let's give it some time. And now I'm thinking of, so the mindset shifted, that was, a month or two ago mindset. Now it shifted to, I'm looking around, I'm making preparations to tell them, if things do go really green, I can at least tell them, hey, remember that investment? Your guy here, it's up this much. Hey, I'm no, not financial advice, even people in real life, or even friends and family and all that stuff. But hey, if you want to take some profit, feel free. If not, if you want to, be in this forever, I believe in this ecosystem. But it's a totally different sentiment change. It's like more from, I don't really want to talk about it. Let's wait some more to, I told you this thing could take 1, 2, 3 years or whatever. To, hey, hopefully we'll have a Merry Christmas. Hopefully we'll be able to have a cool conversation, and you'll pat me on the back for thank me later type of thing. But the sentiment's completely changed recently, so that's a cool thing for everyone. I'm sure I'm not alone in that.
I just love that it was decorrelated from the rest of the market, like, dude, just to see that complete plan, red day.
So master plan. We talked about this.
Master plan, yeah.
Well, just the big. So if we go sideways, for the next few months, for example, and broader, that's a cool thing too. Every time I see some stream about Bitcoin, or I see CNBC talk about it, or I look at the price is down, or altcoins are sad or red, or anytime I see any of that, I just don't even care anymore. Like, because if we are decorrelated, why do I care about anything but air prices? Why do I care about anything about what's going on here? So like removing the whole anxiety of, God, I hope this is a green year for altcoins. That, again, recently has given me more faith that it doesn't matter as much as it used to, at least. Yeah. So if we're green, if we go if broader crypto goes sideways, if you're a master planner, and you had all this money, and you had all this, benevolent well, all this stuff, and you wanted to get the best, quote unquote, free marketing ever, wouldn't you want the period of time where everything else is down but you're up? Wouldn't you, strive for that to happen? Put the chips in place for that to happen if you were planning this thing? Like, isn't that odd? You think we'll be looking back in a few months, be like, it was that obvious, wasn't it? It was that obvious. Like, you think we feel that way?
It does seem really obvious looking back, but again, it's like, I'm not gonna lie, that even those last few days, they were rocking me, man. They were rocking me big time. And then I tell you where my confidence kind of restored a bit was the Christmas stream, the Christmas pre-record. I think that really changed my mind.
Making all your friends rich, Gary. Yeah.
Because it was a lot of pain. There was a lot of pain, and I just love the fact that it makes it really good. I would say FOMO is worse than FUD. FOMO is way worse than FUD in the sense of, like, when you're seeing other opportunity costs, like when you're seeing PulseX HEX pump in comparison to your Solana bag, or I don't know, whatever you got into, some form of other altcoin, it's like a sinking ship feeling, and you want to switch back. And I could speak of other protocols that have kind of gone through that and done that recently, but that feeling is way worse than just a bit of FUD in a bear market, because at least in a bear market you can go, hey, look, Polygon went down 95%, and Hex went down 99%, which is crazy, but Cardano also went down 98.87%, and then it ran up and did a new all-time high. People forget that. No one wants to talk about that, but And we had a split. We had a secondary chain where our coin had divvied up its economic energy, but no one wants to talk about that. And then everyone starts comparing it to XRP, right? And they're like, oh, maybe, well, XRP only did a 10x from the SEC FUD, and it only did 16x from the bottom during that SEC FUD. But they forget to mention that Ripple was selling hundreds of millions and also 1.5 billion in the year of 2021 to drive down the price. Like, there's so many little things that their statement made a FUD, but you can accept the FUD when everything's kind of going down. It kind of sucks that it's maybe 5% more than Polygon or like 10% more than other altcoins. But when you see the FOMO, when you see the green candles and you've moved into a different product, holy shit, that's way worse, because the train's gone and you probably have just missed out on an extra. If you've missed out on a 3x, let's say it does 300x, right? You know, if it from bottom to top, how much have you missed out on from there? You've missed out on, you're probably only doing what, like a 30x, 40x, something like that from your position up to the top, compared to a 300x. That's very different, you know. So that in itself is way worse. That feeling's way worse.
A couple questions here while we wrap up too. What is Ink and buy? Yeah, what is your opinion on Ink and its performance lately?
Yeah, there's a alt account that I think is Richard, who keeps talking about Ink quite a bit. You might know who
Conspiracies.
I'm talking about. Yeah, I have it on good merit that it might be. This is not like a PDI conspiracy. Right?
Is this a PDI crossover? We're doing PDI crossover.
Yeah, I've gone full blown. Which is interesting, by the way, as well, because if Richard wanted to, I don't think he does want to, but if he wanted to, the amount of PDI he had in that address from the biggest PDI, it was PulseX sacrifice address, he could actually deploy, I think it's over 500k, maybe $1 million in PDI, because that's the value of PDI right now. So he could actually just take his PDI and just dump it and buy Pulse. But anyway, I don't think he wants to do that, because so many people have bought in this ecosystem PDI. But yeah, he could do that if he wanted to. I think that's him being a good guy.
He's talked about how, what if the pair is as valuable or more valuable on PulseChain than it is on Ethereum? He's talked about it a lot extensively before. Now, what those coins are, Wrap Bitcoin, people talked a lot about that. That's the one that has the most value, I think, so far over time. And then, PDI is a stable coin. There's no reason it should have any value. It's not redeemable. However, the entity who has all the money is the largest holder of DAI on Ethereum and PulseChain. So, boy, like what is bad? I don't see anything bad about that. I'll say that.
Yeah, no, I don't necessarily see it as bad. But coming back to the initial question, is Ink a buy? I would have it as a lottery ticket, but I know it's interesting, the tokenomics in the future of it, because I believe that it's capped supply as of next year, and then it reduces by a percentage amount.
I think there's a halving. For what I understand, there's a halving. I'm not sure about next year, but over the years, or maybe next year, I'm not sure. There is a halving. Inflation goes way down, basically.
So I call it a lottery play, but because it's, if you haven't been LP liquidity providing, then it maybe not financial advice, but maybe getting a portion of every single bag is not necessarily a bad shout. But I would have that as a longer term play, probably because of the halvings in the future.
People have called it Richard Hart's meme coin. I'm kind of buying into that right now, at this point. I mean, but there's also, that's like the simplistic, face value type of perspective. The other thing is it's monetizing risk. You're buying it like people to get it. You need to either buy it off the market or you got to provide liquidity. And I talked about this extensively with Sloth and Juyung yesterday on the stream. It's one of those, I believe it is important for Ink to be valuable for the health of the liquidity in the ecosystem. And Richard has talked a lot about wanting there to be all this liquidity and all these pairings and all this bonding and all this stuff. So I don't know. I think the big players in the ecosystem are heavily incentivized for ink, not to just be the dump token that has no value, because people need to want it in order to provide liquidity and all that stuff too. So,
and can you set a floor with 1 million ink if you bought 1 million ink?
Let's see, what's the supply? Current supply 22 million with 1 million. Somewhere through there. Yeah. Who's got 1 million ink? I haven't seen the whales. Somebody got 1 million or more.
No, but I'm saying, could you not set it? You potentially could set a floor if you've got a 1 million ink.
It's gonna be interesting to see what the ink whales do out there. We haven't seen a lot of moves. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about big whale moves in ink. But yeah, I mean,
and it's the lowest supply out of all of the Richard Hart tokens.
By far, 50 mil market. If you care about market caps, it's got a 50 mil market cap, and it's an RH coin. Like, that's kind of crazy. Urban production. Do you think when the bull run is over, PLS and PLSX will do a big drop back to near SAC? What do you think, Minigang?
I think it does a 90% drop. Yeah, I think it dropped in the bear run. I think it will be a 90% drop. And I'll tell you what, I will not purchase crypto from the top for about 1.5 years. So I will have like a time dynamic. It will be about 1.5 years, because I learned this. Shout out to him, a good friend of mine, Randy Oz, who had timed his DCA stack for about 1.5 years based off time analysis, and was able to pretty much catch the bottom of Hex. And maybe longer than that. I think it was maybe a 2-year span. But he had kind of said, I'm going to wait for an 80% drawback, a move down from the all-time high, and then I'll start purchasing from that point. I'll start my DCA at that point. So he had 1.5 years to accumulate, and then just buy some more. And I think a lot of people will cotton on to that and be a little bit more smart to it. They'll take profits. Maybe they'll take a portion of it out. They'll want to enjoy their lifestyle and stuff. But no one talks about the next bear market. And to a degree, I actually enjoyed the opportunities that were available in the bear market. And I think as you become more educated by each cycle, it'd be like exciting for a 90% drop. I actually will get excited by a 90% drop, because usually L1s do a 90+% drop. So
yeah.
Do you think when this bull run is over, Pulse and PulseX will do a big drop? Yeah. It depends where the top is, right? How many X's it does, but whatever the 90% drop is from that top point, that's where I'm going to start deploying, or from 80% onwards. That's when I'm going to deploy, probably on a weekly basis.
Yeah, and if there's people in the ecosystem, if you got hex stakes, you got them laddered out, you're able to use TA or otherwise, or just you see a lot of people stop streaming. I've actually seen influencers. Crypto Man Ran has talked about this. One thing I respect, if nothing else, is he said, like, they're going to stop streaming. Like, when it's the top, they're going to stop streaming. They're going to stop getting people in. Who knows what's going to happen? Hopefully it will. But anyways, if people are able to actually buy the bottom, sell the tops, or just sell the tops, and then if you want to run a validator to earn yield, if you want to use all the products and stuff, the ecosystem, whatever it is, you can like make a lot of money in the bull and survive through the bear. Like, to me, bear is all about yield, and bull is about yield plus selling the top, for example. So you don't, if you're locked up in Hex, you don't need to sell. You don't have to worry about the next bear market, the next one, if you're locked up for 5, 10, 15 years. But the liquid stuff you have, go do real world cool stuff. Like, nobody wants to say, at least speaking for myself, I don't want to stay on crypto Twitter forever. I don't, I want to give more than I take, sort of thing. But I think that this ecosystem is not meant, it wasn't designed for you to be on here for 10 to 15 years looking at a chart. It was designed for you to go out, make your money, go be a force for good in the world, however you see fit. And that's what I hope a lot of people are able to do this cycle.
Yeah.
While still locking up Hex for 15 years. I still love that stuff no matter what. It's amazing.
And take profits out for maybe like enough to have a really good lifestyle for 2-3 years minimum. Like, if you want to get, it's that old meme of going back to McDonald's to go work. The crypto boys are coming back, and I remember so many mainstream people. Yeah.
So I got to pull it up now. You got it. You reminded me of that. I got.
That's one of my favorite memes.
Well, it's probably not that one that you're talking about, but I have one that I've been sharing a lot. I think it's pretty funny.
Is it the one where McDonald's said, no, we're not going to hire any crypto guys?
No, that's a good one though too. That's a good one though too. Where is it? This one?
Oh, yes.
Like I've been.
Today is my last day. Do you know the amount of memes I've been seeing around on Twitter where it's like, where people are like, you better not talk to me like that, like talking about their boss, because Bull runs back.
Oh my God! Better not talk to me that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also like this one. I like the where he's eating the hamburger and he's crying. Where is it? Oh, come on! How's it not the first one? Was it? Well, I guess say Ronald McDonald. You want me to spell his name out? Ronald crying. Ronald McDonald crying, eating burger. No, where's the one where he's eating the burger and he's like spitting it out? Did they ban that one? What the hell? Oh, this one. This one. This one. I love this one. So sad. So sad. Mr. McDonald. Get well soon. May you have the baddest of gains, Mr. McDonald. May you have the maddest McGains. Maddest McGains. Yes. Anyways, amazing stream, man. Really good to have you back on the show. And boy, like I said in the beginning, Money Gang's been putting out a lot of great content. I really love the stuff that you've been producing, and that's stuff that other communities that you just can't ignore. They can't ignore us. They can't ignore it. If we're too good to ignore, what do you think they're going to do? Either ignore or they're going to join us, or at least have some respect. Yeah. And that could go a long way as well. So, and where could people find more about your stuff? You know, streaming, Twitter, all that. What are you up to these days?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of videos. So you can find me at obviously Money Gang Crypto on YouTube, also on Twitter, x.com/MoneyGangCrypto. I've also got a Telegram group which is based off of our little cult. So it's Money Gang Cult Chat. That's literally it on Telegram. So feel free to join it. You know what's crazy as well, RHMax? I think the last time we spoke, if I'm right in saying it, I think your subs were like 3K. Are you at 8-9K now? Something like that?
That sounds pretty accurate as far as the 3K. Yeah, working on 9K now, but yeah, it's yeah, man. I think we've all, you know, just imagine. I'm bullish for the bull market. Right? Yeah. You know, I think we both started in the bear, and it was hard, man. It's hard to get people to follow. It's hard to get people to sub. Like I don't even advertise. I don't monetize, you know, all that stuff. And I don't do any of that. I just literally tried to provide the best value possible. And doing it in a bear, like, I think it got me into a state where I'm like, I know, you know, I'm going to be the best version of myself. I'm not, I don't, you know, there's all kinds of things I could do and change and be better and, you know, grow and all this stuff. I'm going to be the best version of myself, and I'm going to provide the most value possible. And if in the bull run, we all as streamers, you know, we got like 53 million views or something. I mean, Gold Key's got that sheet. So many million views, you know, everyone's top 68 or whatever it is. If we're able to grow those 50 million views into like 200 million or 250 million, and we continue to have the best streamers in the business, like, dude, it's all the metrics. I don't even think anybody would be paying attention to them. Like it'll just be like, yeah, obviously you guys are that great. And I hope that's what they say about us.
That's it, man. Like you take Big Boy, what he did in 21, he went from, I think, only 10,000 or something like that subs to millions. And he's really funny because, you know, his personal life is crazy, but that effect, that network effect is so powerful, and we get to kind of morph our own image and we get to morph our own message. That's really exciting. And so I'm happy for what you're doing, and I can't wait to see 10x, man. You're going to do 10x your sub count, I think. Yeah, you're on track, bro. So
I'm more excited for a Hex 10x.
Oh, of course. Yeah, it's okay. Let me make it very, very clear. You know, this crypto world stuff that's fun. That's cool. Like subs, whatever, it's cool. But yeah, you're right. The price increase is we do this really for that. We want to pump your bags, our bags. We want to get a united message out, and we want to deliver, man. And I think we're going to have a really good ball. I'm really excited, man.
Gotta pump it up. Gotta pump it up. Everyone, Money Gang Crypto.
We will pump.
Yeah, man. I'll have to. We'll have to do this again. And anytime you want me to come on, I don't know if you're live streaming much these days, but again, anytime, just feel free to reach out. I'd love to come and chat again. And good to see you, man. Glad you're doing well.
Let's do it.
All right, everyone, that's all we got for you today. Are you happy, satisfied, and fulfilled with your free content as usual? Well, I am. I'm happy, satisfied right now. So, Money Gang, good to see you. Everyone in the chat, excellent questions. That's all we got. Scivive and 5555. We are out.